we're going to lead you through a little introductory session about how you actually can own a home and how it can help you along the way. The structure of the meeting is there will be maybe 15 minutes. I will give a short presentation and overview how our program looks like that we have developed. If you have questions during that, what you probably have, maybe it would be very good if you either write it down and tell us later, or actually write it into the chat directly, and Nissi will pick them up. And after the presentation, we're going to have a question and answer where we can actually answer individual questions that you have along the way. That makes it easy. So we are GrowMyHome. Our motto is making real estate affordable to pretty much everyone who wants to own real estate. And a little bit of a background of our company. Who are we? You might have heard something about us, but you might not. So we have been in real estate for more than 10 years of experience. We have a presence in 4 cities across 2 nations, which is, well, that is without Kenya at the moment. If we include Kenya, that is already 3 nations. There's more than 400 people we have trained over the years. We have more than 1,000 jobs created, which shows you already that for us, it's not just about money, but we want to help people. We also have an experience in quality and eco-friendly housing to experiment with material. And we are driven by impact, social impact. How can our product, how can we as a company serve our staff, serve our customers well? And we are also not just one company, we're a consortium, GrowMyHome, that's what I'm standing for. I'm representing with a developer. Then there is NYTC in the middle, that is our building company. And then we have BizConnect, a consulting and trade company. And there's a couple of other ones, but they're the main ones. So this consortium together developed the program and is responsible. We have partners, as Bishop John, he is from the Gatekeepers Realtors. That's our partner, local partner in Kitale in Kenya. We've also a partner, another Kenyan partner in Nairobi. It's Hand in Hand Group, Bricken. They have decades of experience in development and real estate. We have a fund manager, Gig Wealth, and we also are connected with an attorney, conveyancer from South Africa who is experienced in this area. We have more partners, but that's at the moment more the relevant ones for the local market here in Kenya. I want to show.
We believe everyone deserves the chance to own their own home. Imagine having the knowledge, resources, and expert guidance to take you from dreaming of your own home to actually stepping into one. Welcome to GrowMyHome's Home Ownership Program. Our home ownership program is designed for anyone with a steady income, be it from a formal job or informal work. Our program equips you with the insights and tools to navigate the real estate market and make informed, confident decisions.
Our curriculum includes everything you need to know about owning a home. Introduction to homeownership. Understanding common challenges. Foundational principles. Exploring different paths to ownership. Key steps to success. Professional services and unique home designs. And how to care for your new home.
And the best part of it, the first part of our home ownership program is a completely free but comprehensive introduction to the fundamentals of buying a home. In the second part, you then gain access to additional expert support, get deeper understanding, and will be connected with trusted professionals, specialized service providers, and financing options to guide you through the rest of your journey. GrowMyHome's mission is simple: to make affordable housing accessible to as many people as possible. We're here to help make it a reality for you. Are you ready to take the first step toward owning your home? Join GrowMyHome's home ownership program today. Your future home is waiting. Let's make it happen together.
The other group of people, and I suppose it's most of you, if I am not mistaken, is those to say, we want to buy a home. We want to have our own home where I can live in with my family. I want to actually live in that house. I don't want to just make an investment. I want to live there, or I want to build this house maybe for my parents or for relatives I know well that are also going to live in there. for those people, if you're one of them, we have designed a home ownership program, and you find, by the way, all this information is also on the website. You find all of this there. I'm taking a lot of material from there. And you can go on this website, you can join us there, register, and then you find a step-by-step guide to home ownership. That is a free program where you can register, and then we go on a journey with you to find out how can you own your own house, your own home. And how does it work? I will show you the process. The first thing is always you have to register online, because the course is all digital, it's all online. You have to first go on the webpage, email, verify your email address, and then you're already there. There's no fee, it's for free. It's called a Home Ownership 1. It's a module, a free module. There's 8 sections, takes you about 90 minutes maybe, depending on how fast you are going through this course. And then after that course, there is a pre-qualification form. That means you have to fill that out to say, okay, I'm really interested, I want to go further. So in the Home Ownership 1, you learn the different paths to home ownership, the different steps, there's different sections. In the pre-qualification form, we find out where is your financial situation, and what is your framework, what is your setting, how can we help you best on the journey to home ownership. After you've done that, then we go into the Home Ownership 2 in the subscription phase. That's a longer one, where we match you with experts, with coaches. You will do some budgeting together with them. That will take up to a year. You will start or open a bank account. And when this is done, then you actually can pick your own house and can move into your own house. That's, of course, simplified, but that's the process. Register, Home Ownership 1 free, fill out the pre-qualification form, which means all your data. Then you go on the journey with the experts, and at the end, you can move into your own house. Because it's a bit of process we have to digest, I did it in a timeline, a bit of different format, pretty much the same. But the orange is now. So basically, you can sign up now, and then you get access to a free preview of all our modules with different modules, but also access to the Home Ownership program, the Home Ownership 1. You start the program, 8 sections, 60 to 90 minutes. It's just an estimate, but just showing you it's not like a huge amount of time. But going through the program, after this, when you're done with the program, done the pre-qualification, then starts the green, the 12 months. And that is also a subscription fee involved, because you're working with experts, that we have to finance that. It's not a huge fee, but just a payment. There's online teachings, facilitated groups, and all kinds of things that help you. So you are enabled and empowered to own your home and also maintain your home. After this is done, then you become a homeowner. You can choose your home. And of course, we are not promising you can take any home you want. This home is still naturally dependent on what your income is, what you can finance, what you can afford at that point. But you will have clarity by then how this works. But by the way, all the time, you don't bind yourself to anything up until that point. You just go through the courses, pay the subscription fees after the free program. And even after that, you're not bound to Grow My Home. You're free to go anywhere. And some of you might go somewhere else than Grow My Home, and that's absolutely fine. We are not trying to bind you to ourselves, but just offer you the best service possible. A quick run through so you have an idea, what is this home ownership program? What am I going to learn? What is it mystic? What is so there's 8 sections there. I'm not going to teach you now, obviously, because that's what the program is for. But why own a house? Very basic, but also profound. Certain things we might have not thought about in the first place. Then there's hurdles to home ownership. It's not always easy. It's possible, but there's hurdles we have to jump over. Then section 3 is the foundational financial principles for home ownership. There's interest involved, and there's mortgages could be involved. We're going to teach you about that. Then in section 4, there's a different pathways to own your house. What does that mean? I mean, I said before that you might not at the end actually do something with us directly or buy a house with us. because there's many different roads to get a home. Maybe you want to invest, maybe you want to self-build, maybe you want to invest in land, or you want to be a sales agent. I mean, all of them could be, most of them could be related to us and we help you there, but it's not focused on us, but focused on what is your best route, what's the best pathway for you. Section 5 is then when you have chosen the pathway and know which way to go, what are the steps? ABC, what do you need to do? We tell you about that. Then section 6 is a bit more an educational section about who are the professionals, the people you need in order to build a home, or just to be aware of some of the areas in the ecosystem that is part of building a home, because it's a process. Section 7 talks about unique home design. So it's very important for us to understand what you want, what is important to you, what kind of houses are you looking for. But there we also show you that we have houses that can grow with you, that can also grow with your family or personal situation. And then in section 8, it's a very, very important section, caring for your home. It's not just about building a home and a house, but it's also maintaining a house and making the house basically a home. That's why we don't talk so much about houses, although it's mostly houses, but the house should become a home for you. Let me just go through this again with a different process, just to repeat. So you start with the Homeownership 1 is a program I just talked about. You complete that. Then you do the pre-qualification form that gives us an idea that shows us that you're actually really interested, because in the course there is nothing, you just go through that and click and complete. Pre-qualification gives us your data, and then we see, that's what you want. That's the direction you need and want to go, and that's possible. Then you go into Homeownership 2 with the experts. You open a savings account. That is very important. You start also in this phase, in these 12 months, saving for your deposit, building up a deposit, because if you want to buy a house, almost always you need a deposit. Then select your house. What kind of house do you want? We are in the process of planning and developing and building houses also in Kitalia, model houses that you can look at. Then you sign a purchase agreement, then it becomes official. And up to then you haven't decided anything or haven't signed up for any major things. Pay your deposits and move into your home while you pay your deposits. And after the amount of years that have been stipulated or together looked at and agreed upon, and the bank also agrees to that, that you pay these over the years, and you live in this house, and after these years you have ownership after full payment, and the house you have been living in becomes legally yours. So there was a lot of information. Next steps is, I always say go to the website, but there is all the information on there. Register there, so you get access to the course and start the free program. Now that was the presentation. I have a tendency to speak fast, so you probably have many questions.
Question from Alicia. Alicia says, does every house have a minimum amount to pay, or can you just pay any amounts that you have?
Since I talked so much, I let you answer that, Nissi. I talked like straight through. Now you may answer the question, unless you want to push them to me, the questions.
Okay, so when you are embarking on the homeownership program, when you do the pre-qualification, some of the questions that you are asked have to do with your financial position. Your financial position determines what you can afford. And so your house determines what you can afford. Now, in some countries, there is actually regulation. Some countries say you cannot spend more than 30% of your income on housing. So what that means is that when you have such laws, it means that we cannot sell you a house that will demand more than 30% of your income. So those are some of the things that we have to look at when you're doing home ownership. And so to your question, Alicia, you pay according to what you can afford, and what are the regulations around the place where you live in. Okay, while we're waiting for questions, I think I can also share one more item. One of the visions behind founding Grow My Home was that we came to the realization that one of the easiest way, or one of the ways to break multi-generational poverty and to create wealth is through the ownership of property. Now, if you're in the financial sector, you will know that property is the biggest asset class in the world. It's worth there's trillions of dollars in property around the world. But the interesting thing about property is that it's not expensive. I mean, it's not cheap. It's very expensive to have property. So whereas it's the biggest asset class in the world, very few people have access to property. A vast percentage of the world's population have no access to property. Billions of people don't have any property. If you follow some of the world's wealthiest people, when they create a lot of wealth, so that their money does not lose value during inflation and all these other troubles, they convert their money to assets. They buy land. You'll see some of the richest men in America are the owners of the biggest land, or in Europe, or the insurance companies will build skyscrapers and stuff like that. They use property to preserve their wealth because property is always worth more and more as the years go by. So when we saw this, a very good asset class that can help people to come out of poverty, and you can transfer it from generation to generation. But we saw that the entry level was very high. You have to have a lot of money. So that was one of the reasons why we formed the real estate investing platform. One of the products in the real estate investing platform is buying a portion of a property, starting from a small portion. So you can actually buy a portion of the property and own it for the rest of your life, or for as much as that property is in existence. So we said to people, you can become a homeowner by investing in a whole property, or you can begin your journey to home ownership by owning a part of a property. And as the years go by, you grow and grow and grow value until you can bring together many parts and have a full property. So this is something that has been in our hearts, democratizing property, making it possible for more people with a lower entry level to be able to be involved in the biggest asset class in the world.
A good question is, someone asked, what if you're unable to pay anymore when you're halfway done paying? So that's the question. What is happening if I have paid and suddenly something happens because life is happening? I'm going to start answering the question, and then Anisi can add to that. So when you do this with us and you have been starting, there is a whole legal document in place that stipulates exactly what is happening. So you are protected, it's all safeguarded, and part of your money is going towards, it's like you own this home and you pay rent at the same time. So part of what you pay is like paying rent, and part of this is paying towards the house. So if you, after half of the time, have to get out, you do not lose all your money. You have paid something into the asset, and there is regulated that you get that money, and we have to find another buyer and all of that. But you have invested into that, not your whole amount, because there's interest and there is rent included, but a certain amount of that money is already paid, and you own, so to say, a certain amount of that house. And you will get that back as this is stipulated legally.
Thanks, Johnny. You've answered most of it. When you're buying property, the good news about buying property is that property grows. And the good news about buying property is that in any property transaction, there is always an entry point and an exit point. So if you're buying through a bank mortgage, there is conditions if you exit. The only thing is you have to follow those conditions. For example, if you think you cannot pay usually banks will ask you to take an insurance. So if you cannot pay anymore, the insurance will kick in and cover you for a few months. And then after that, you either resume or you exit. That insurance period is the time that you can sell off the house if you think you will not be able to pay anymore. So different ownership property models always offer that, like what Johnny has described. If you're doing a self-build where you own land and you are building, if that's your model, if you become tired somewhere along the line, you always have the land and the building. You can liquidate it and recover some money. As long as you follow the principles of entry and exits, you're always safe. So when you're doing that Home Ownership 2 program, that 6 months or 1 year with experts, those are the things the experts help you understand. They help you understand how to function in the property sector, what to do if you face certain situations, and how to make sure that property works for you over the long term.
And it's very good to ask this question. Never be afraid in this market to ask any question, because if it cannot be answered transparently, don't go into it. I mean, sometimes it's a bit detailed and legal stuff because, but the legal stuff also protects you. But yes, please ask these questions, whoever you work with, because they need to be something that is protects the buyer and the seller.
How can you people prove that this Grow My Home is not a scam? Because there has been a lot of scams around the nation of Kenya, and the people are told to invest money, and at the end of the day, those money just disappeared. So what is different with Grow My Home?
A very legitimate and very important question. I think part of it, and there's many layers to answer this question, and I would ask you, do your due diligence. That's why I didn't do just in the beginning, who are we, when I did my presentation, and to tell you, look how cool we are and how great we are. It was also a bit of laying a foundation. We have been around, we are a legal entity. If you want to know a legal entity, you can check out our register number in South Africa, go to the registry office and online and check out, do we exist? Do our names, Nissi, mine match with the, so there's many detailed things you can actually do. We have partners, you can check with any of those partners online, can call them, write them an email. Is this real? Is, you know, Bishop John, I personally was in Kitale for 2 weeks, so we traveled there on purpose to show us that we are there, to we have a fund manager who regulates our deals. So we have many different layers, and that is on the one side. On the other side, very pragmatic, if I put myself into your shoes, you have nothing to lose at that point because it's free. So you just have to, it's really an email and say, yeah, I want to try that out. These guys, we actually taking time sitting here with you. We are real. We're not a robot, obviously. We don't do this in the future anymore when we are growing, but we are sitting here talking to you in person. That shows we are there. And start the program, start the website and see whether you like it. And then as you go, you will also develop which questions you should ask into addition, because scam is a broad question, but there are specific questions. What kind of scam are you? Have you thought about this? Is this covered? But this you will discover as you do the program. You will realize what questions to ask, and then we can answer them even more in depth. That I think is a part of my answer to are we a scam or not. There was a second question, but maybe Nissi, you can add to my answer here.
Thanks, Johnny. I think you've covered most of it. So I think to the first question, the other side of the question I always say to people is that, yes, there are many scams in our communities, but there are far more real businesses in Kenya than there are scams. There are many Kenyan banks that have been around for many years. There are many Kenyan insurance companies, businesses, a lot of them. The truth about scams is that majority of the time, if you do due diligence, you can tell a scam from a real business. That's the reality. The reason why people get scammed is that scams always offer unreal offerings that draw people's interest away from checking. So that's usually the secret. So like Johnny said, we offer a lot of information, we give things, we are open to as many questions as you want to ask, and the entry level starts from free. So you really don't need to commit anything until you're 100% sure that you are sure of what you're doing. Yeah, that's it. We try to work with credible partners.
Other question said, what is the difference between Grow My Home and acquiring a mortgage from the banks? Well, if you can acquire a mortgage from the bank, you might not need us, which is totally fine. Go to the bank and get your mortgage and your home. So, but the challenge is that many people in this continent and in Kenya do not have access to mortgage and are just they don't meet the criteria the banks have for giving a mortgage because they are not officially or like they're not employed as a civil servant or something like that, but they still do have income. So there's many people who have income, but it might be informal or in a stream that the banks don't accept as a leverage for mortgage. Having said, and that we want to bridge that gap basically for people. So if you have no income at all, then we're not able to help you too much because everything has to be paid since we are a business. But if you have an income, then we want to help you bridge the gap if you don't get a mortgage. Having said that, you might actually qualify for a mortgage and don't know it. So for us, and that's also for this program that we are offering, is like do the program and you realize, oh, I can't do that. You might qualify for government subsidy or for government programs, and then you don't continue with us. That is absolutely great because then you have, our goal is to get you a home. It seems like we have answered a few questions. I would say the next step is, let me put something in the chat here. The next step I said is go on our website and register there and start the course. Or